Okay, so I've released the demo of my game. If you're interested in playing it, there's a link in the description to my Discord. If you join it, go to the releases channel, and there'll be steps there on how to get it set up. It's pretty easy. It's basically download it and then run the exe inside of it. So when you open up the game and run it, you'll be presented with a white screen. Just click on the white screen and it'll start generating the world. So this is just the demo release. So you can just kind of fly around and explore the world, but not able to interact with it yet. The next release, I want to get world editing and a GUI, because I figure if I'm going to be releasing a demo rather often, it should probably be slightly playable. So if I get a GUI working and world editing, I'm counting that as kind of playable. So the controls are just normal WASD, spacebar to go up, shift to go down. I do use the minus and the plus key on your keyboard to either slow down or speed up, and the C button is used to zoom in, just kind of like Optifine. So the rest of the video will just be dedicated to some Q&A from the last video, some of the common questions I saw on there. If I don't go over a question you have, feel free to just leave a post in the discussions board in the Discord. Create a post asking anything. You can create a post to discuss whatever you want about it. It could be an idea for the game. It could be a question about the engine, a question about, I don't know, anything. And please feel free to leave ideas for the Discord too. There's not too much to do in it right now, so if you have any ideas on how you can make it more interesting, please let me know. Is the code public, and does it have a GitHub? It's not currently public, but I'm not completely against it for the future. Just for the time being, I'm keeping it private. What language was this made in? This was made in C++. And what graphics API am I using? I am using OpenGL. What hardware is this running on? This is running on a GTX 1060 with an i9-9900. What is the final goal for this project? I'm really not too sure. I just really enjoy making it, and I hope to eventually turn it into a game, but I don't have too much of a roadmap. Do I use rasterization or am I using ray tracing? This is all done with rasterization. I think if you're doing just very simple lighting, where you don't have to calculate the bounces of the rays, you don't need reflections, I just think it's more efficient to rasterize. It's, especially with occlusion culling, it's like the best primary ray acceleration structure. You literally go straight to the voxel. It does get difficult with rasterization if you want to do fancy lighting and volumetric effects. Am I using level of detail? Yes, I don't think this would be possible without level of detail. What are the main optimization techniques used here? Most of the performance is coming from rendering everything with a single draw call, greedy meshing, frustum culling, occlusion culling, CPU side backface culling, and I do a few other things, but they're kinda minor. How much RAM and VRAM does this use? So this scene here I think is rendering with 800 megabytes, somewhere around there, 700 megabytes. And the VRAM, it's around 200 megabytes being used. I do see it go up to 300 in some cases, and so I've allocated 400 because I'm using a memory pool and it doesn't resize yet, so I just have to set the upper bound on it, and I need it to be generous enough where it doesn't just run out of memory. Is the meshing handled on the CPU? Yes, right now it's all on the CPU, all the meshing, but I am considering moving the noise generation over to the GPU. Is any of the terrain repeated or is it all unique? Everything on the screen is all unique, so every part of the world will be, hopefully, once I work on it more, unique and interesting to look at. Will you support world editing and physics? Yes, I'll support world editing for sure in the next release. Physics, I'm not so sure when I'm gonna get to that, but I'd like to support it sometime in the future. Will I add lighting and animations? I actually have some ideas I really want to try out for both of those. So hopefully relatively soon, so within the next few months. How do you plan on making the world look more interesting? Hopefully with the lighting. I don't know if I plan on doing textures. I'm really hoping the lighting is good enough where it kind of pulls together the look of the game. How do you store all of this in memory? So I actually don't store any of the voxel data once the chunk is generated. I just ditch it because all I need is the mesh. Especially for far away chunks, the player isn't going to interact with it every frame. The player's just going to see it every frame, so I just need the mesh data. If I need the voxel data, I'll just regenerate it. It's really fast to generate the voxel data, especially because I keep the height map data, so I don't have to regenerate that. It's something like 25% of the meshing time generating the voxel data. Is this procedurally generated? Yeah, it's all procedurally generated, and the only thing I store on disk are the structures. Those are pre-generated. The locations aren't. The locations are procedural, but just the actual data is stored. Why was the water glitching out? Right now I'm only sending chunks to the chunk generator if it's either a terrain chunk or it has a structure in it, which means the water plane isn't considered terrain. So the only reason you can actually see the water currently is because those chunks also have terrain or a structure. Pretty easy to fix. I just haven't done it yet, and I don't think I will. I think I'm gonna do world editing first. Where did I get the scan structures from? I got them from Sketchfab.